Thanks for staying up with us tonight. I'm Jeremiah Jensen. He's Sam Farnsworth. The bowl games are set. Are the Utes excited about their destination and opponent after the disappointment of the loss in the Pac-12 championship game? And with BYU bowling in Hawaii, we look back at some of the more memorable moments for the Cougars at Aloha Stadium. Long history there.
It's fun looking back at some of that old video, too. Plus, Mike Conley, Donovan Mitchell, no, it is Joe Ingles who's developed a strong on-court chemistry with Rudy Gobert. What's the secret to their success together? We'll hear from them about it. Well, Utes fans, are you still feeling the hangover? It is kind of hard to shake the memory of the Utes' loss at the Pac-12 championship on Friday night, but today there's a new reason to look forward. One last chance to see this group of guys on the football field together. The bowl game matchups are now set, and the Utes officially accepting an invitation to play in the Alamo Bowl on New Year's Eve. The school's first ever trip to that bowl game. The Utes won't lie. They feel the disappointment of what could have been as well. But they're putting a positive spin on things now, a chance to finish the season with their 12th win.
I mean, we all had, high hopes and aspirations to win that game, but it didn't fall. It didn't happen for us, so we got to just make sure that we go out the best way we can at this point.
It's a really good bowl game. Outcome of Friday was affected, what we really wanted, but Alamo Bowl is a really good game. I'm excited.
Not many teams get a chance to win 11 games, so I think it's just we got to make the best of it and just make sure that we go out on top.
It's a great opportunity for us to go out and win our 12th game. Incredible group of seniors, incredible team, and our plan is just to go out and get after it.
All right, so the opponent, they're going to match up with Texas. Texas didn't have a great season, especially by their standards, just 7-5 overall. Their best wins of the season, a 3-point win over Kansas State, who was ranked at the time, and a 36-30 win over Oklahoma State. They had losses to LSU and Oklahoma as well. Sam Ehlinger is one of the top quarterbacks in the Big 12, 3,400 yards, 29 touchdowns. Devin Duvernay, their star receiver, 103 catches, 1,200 yards, 8 scores. Terrell Burgess and the Utah secondary, they'll have their hands full.
I'm actually very excited to play them. I grew up watching the Longhorns, so it'll be a good honor to play against them. They have got a great team. They've got a great quarterback. So I'm excited to play them.
I'm just excited to play against Texas, to be honest. They're a really good team. I watched them on TV a few Saturdays, but I'm just excited to play against them.
And I think it's another opportunity for us to go out and show the nation what we can do.
They're a pretty good program from what I've heard. Iconic in college football.
There's a growing trend in college football where players with NFL aspirations sit out the bowl game in their final year. The Utes have a handful of guys that will be playing on Sundays next year, but the belief today is that everyone is on board for one final ride.
No. I love playing for this team. I came here. I didn't come here not to play in games. I try and make sure I play in every game I can with, barring any injuries and bruises. But, yeah, that hasn't even crossed my mind.
Other teammates talked about that possibility?
Oh, no, not that I know of. I think everybody wants to play.
Not that I know of. I think everyone wants to play. Yeah, this is a really good bowl game, so I think we're all excited to just play.
All right, now to the Cougars. We knew BYU was going to the Hawaii Bowl. Now we know their opponent. A nostalgic matchup for longtime BYU fans. The Cougars will face the Rainbow Warriors of Hawaii. The game will take place at Aloha Stadium in Honolulu at 6 p.m. Mountain Time on Christmas Eve. Hawaii won the West Division of the Mountain West Conference and lost to Boise State in the conference championship. They beat Arizona, Oregon State, San Diego State, and Army. Got some good wins. They like to sling it, too. Cole McDonald threw for 3,642 yards, 5th in the nation, 29 touchdowns. Cedric Bird's a 1,000-yard receiver. The Rainbow Warriors are 6th in the nation in passing offense, 13th in total offense. Now, I mentioned the history. BYU and Hawaii were WAC rivals. Plenty of memorable games between the two teams, especially on the islands. We thought it'd be fun to look back at the top 3 or 4 moments that stand out in BYU versus Hawaii games played in Aloha Stadium. Some of them aren't pleasant for BYU fans.
I don't know if he made it that time. We had a BYU linebacker go right over the top and hit him.
That play saved BYU's national championship season in '84. Cougar safety Kyle Morrell timed his jump perfectly over the line of scrimmage, tackled Hawaii quarterback Rafael Cherry before he crossed the goal line. BYU edged Hawaii 18-13, an iconic moment in BYU football history.
Heisman Award, whose name is Ty Detmer. Ty Detmer of BYU.
Remember, Ty Detmer was in Hawaii when we learned that he won the 1990 Heisman Trophy. Unfortunately, later that night, BYU was blown out on the islands for the 2nd straight year It was never easy winning there.
Gets it at his 26. He's in the clear again. One block away from the score. He gets it. Shan Owens with the touchdown.
BYU's perfect season spoiled in 2001. Current Hawaii head coach Nick Rolovich was the quarterback. He threw 8 touchdown passes. Ashley Lee, 260 yards receiving. BYU's hopes for a BCS bowl game were busted in a 72-45 beating.
Well, the Aggies are also going bowling. They get the honor of playing on the opening day of the bowl season against Kent State at the Frisco Bowl on December 20th from the Mid-American Conference. The third time these two schools will match up, at the first since 1974.
Up next, it was the Grizzlies, but the Jazz looked like themselves again on Saturday night. We'll take a deep dive into why and what lies ahead coming up next.
Welcome back to Sports Beat. You know, even after the Jazz suffered losses in 5 of 6 games, their record through the first 22 games of the season still better than what it was a year ago through 22 games. None of the next 7 opponents have a winning record either, so now is the time for the Jazz to get rolling once again, and they did last night, thanks to some rolling between Joe Ingles and Rudy Gobert. The two longest tenured Jazz men on the roster. They know each other well, and it's showing in their on-court chemistry. Coach Quinn Snyder has been creating more ways to keep the two on the floor together. They're both having fun with it and liking the results.
I know Rudy well. He knows me well, and it's always, I mean, I've enjoyed playing with him for 6 years. I think we know how to play with each other, especially in those kind of situations.
Oh, you got to be kidding. Joe doing his magic with Rudy Gobert.
It's fun because, you know, he's a very smart player and he's a very unselfish player. You know, he can see the defense and punish them for their mistakes. And when you get a player like that, you got to take advantage of it.
Well, after one quarter with the Grizzlies, it seemed as if the Jazz were falling into the same rut that led to losses. They allowed 36 points in the first quarter to the Grizz. The Jazz only gave up that many points in a quarter 5 times in the first 16 games of the season, but 5 more times in the last 6 games. The second quarter was the turning point. They gave up just 18 points en route to a 15-point halftime lead.
I think the urgency of kind of having what we had behind us, you know, the past few games, understanding that, you know, we can't let it happen again. And, you know, we gave up, 36 points in the first quarter, and then we ended up going like 11 or 13-2 run. You know, just being able to understand that that's the level we have to play at all times.
They did make some shots, and when that happens, you know, you look and figure out what you could do, even if it's like 5% better. You know, maybe that's the difference.
A big key to the Jazz run in the second quarter was the play off the bench from Jeff Green. Green finished the game with 19 points, but 11 of those came in the second. He made 3 3-pointers in that quarter and threw down an alley-oop as well.
My teammates just did a great job of finding me. I just wanted to be aggressive. You know, when I have the shot, take it. And, you know, I had a couple lucky ones at the end of the shot clock and one that actually slipped out my hand, but it went in, so I'll take it. But, you know, my teammates did a great job of, you know, penetrating the lane and, you know, kicking out and finding an open guy, and I just wanted to make the shot.
23 games into the season, and it's hard to think that this Jazz team is still a work in progress, but they are. Mike Conley and Ed Green still trying to find their fit with this team and fight through injuries, and Coach Quinn Snyder still trying different roster combos throughout each game. But last night, the locker room consensus is that this team, the team chemistry, is getting stronger and stronger.
You know, one of the biggest themes is us been continuing to communicate, and that covers up a lot of things.
I think it just allows, when it allows the person talking to understand that, you know, you have their back, you know, and not to say that we don't, but just listening and then taking that advice and go out there doing it.
Still learning how to, you know, find our groove together, and you know, every night is a different challenge for us to get better.
The Jazz host the Oklahoma City Thunder Monday night. The Thunder in Portland tonight against Damian Lillard and the struggling Trailblazers. And one, Dame Lillard. He had 26 points. Third quarter, Dame buries a 3, but he was only 2 of 12 from 3. The Thunder get a road win in Portland. Chris Paul with 20 points. The Thunder are 7th in the West. Can you believe that? Just 2.5 games behind the Jazz.
Well, the Jazz will be in Minnesota Wednesday. The pesky Timberwolves were visiting the Lakers tonight. The Lakers filled the nets. LeBron James drilled 6 threes, had 32 points. He wasn't even close to the team's leading scorer, though. That was Anthony Davis, an absolute beast. Made 20 field goals tonight and was a perfect 10 for 10 from the free throw line. He had 50 points. The Lakers are 21-3 now with the 142-125 win.
The Lakers are good again. A lot of buzz about Luka Doncic. He's the latest NBA superstar. He was great again tonight, hammering in 2 of his 27 points. He also had 8 assists, 7 rebounds. He tried to rally the Mavericks from a 20-point deficit at home. He almost pulled it off. Dallas cut the lead to 2, but this is no way to end a game. Nemanja Bjelica had 30 points. The Kings get a rare road win and end the Mavs' 5-game win streak.
Well, Tyler Hero lived up to his name tonight. The Miami Heat rookie was clutch. He scored 27 points, including 16 of Miami's final 18 points. That bucket gave the Heat the lead before the Bulls tied it to forced overtime. And in OT, he's earned the trust of Jimmy Butler, the All-Star. Kicks it out to the rookie, and he knocks it in. The Miami Heat are 17-6.
All right, back to college football. And the Utes' special season didn't end the way they had planned, but 11 wins, a South Division title, and an 8-game win streak provided fans with some great memories.
Yeah, we thought it would be fun to take a look back at the top 5 plays of the Utes' regular season.
Action. Tyler's going to keep this out on the edge. 10, 5, end zone, touchdown. Tyler Huntley on a quarterback keeper.
He had a few great runs, but we picked that one, number 5, Tyler Huntley, flexing his muscles against Northern Illinois, showing his strength on a touchdown run, and the Utes win.
Pressure in his face. He's going to be sacked, and the ball's out. The ball's out. Rumbling the other way for a Utah touchdown. Is that Mika Tafua? It is. It's a Utah touchdown.
It is. The Utes' blowout of the UCLA Bruins was a display of defensive dominance. Mika Tafua returned the fumble 68 yards for the score. That's the number 4 play on our countdown.
He throws it outside. Intercepted by Jalen Johnson. 25-20, 15, 10-5. That's a touchdown. It's a house call for Jalen.
The Utes needed a rally in Seattle to finally beat the Huskies. This pick 6 by Jalen Johnson sure helped. This will look good on his NFL draft resume tape.
Zach to the 30, Zach to the 25, 20, 15, 10-5. He gallops into the end zone, and he gallops into history. Zach Moss with 6, and he's the all-time leading rusher in Utah football history.
Zach Moss had a lot of records this year. Number 2 on our list, setting the school record for touchdowns with that run. It capped a 99-yard drive that made him the greatest scoring back in Utah history.
We could do a top 5 Zach Moss runs this year.
Huntley to pass, backpedals, pressure off the edge, throws down the field, got a man wide open. The day's on his feet, 40, 35-30, 25-20, 15-10-5, touchdown. That's Brad Keithy.
That was our number 1. It was made by one of the biggest surprises of the season. The emergence of sophomore tight end Brent Keithy as a star and a go-to receiver. His spin and score against UCLA, followed by as Conor McGregor swagger in the end zone, made this number 1.
Well, there aren't any bowl games in the FCS. That's because they've got it right with a 2014 playoff. Weber State beat Kennesaw State yesterday at Stewart Stadium and now advanced to get a rematch with Montana in the quarterfinals. The game kicks off Friday night at 8 p.m. Stewart Stadium. The two teams faced each other back in November. A 35-16 Wildcats loss. That game was in Missoula, though. This time, Ogden, the winner, advancing to the semifinals.
Revenge is best served cold, and it's going to be cold on Friday night. All right, the best thing about the archive is we can take a deep dive into Jazz history whenever we want and break out some vintage video.
It's a lot of fun, and this week, let's get out those short shorts and sweet passes. We'll feature John Stockton, turning back the clock almost 30 years.
On this day in 1990, John Stockton recorded a 20-20 game against the LA Clippers, back when the Clippers were awful. 27 points, 23 assists, most of those going to, of course, the mailman, and boy, did he deliver. Carl or Jeff, actually. The other Malone had a good game, too. 27 for the mailman, Jeff Malone, and his sweet jumper off one foot had 20. Plenty more still to come. Yoli Childs made his return to the basketball court this week for the Cougars.
And the Aggies got one of their big stars back as well with the return of Neemias Queta. We'll show you how they did, as well as the hot running Utes. College Hoops is next.
Queta wants to go coast to coast, and he does. Right to Queta, throws down the dunk. And another block shot. Is out, but what an athletic play.
Yeah, welcome back, Neemias Queta has made his return to the Aggies after missing the first 9 games of the season with an injury that he suffered last summer. He suited up yesterday against Fresno State.
Not a bad time to get him back. The second game of conference play and just before the Beehive Classic next weekend.
And checking in, look at this. Neemias Queta has the herd on their feet.
The Spectrum was rocking when Neemi entered the game. He only played 10 minutes, but managed 6 points and 1 block. He's going to be limited to just 10 minutes per game for now. The Aggies thrilled to have him back, especially with BYU on the schedule Saturday.
Justin Bean notched his 7th double-double against the Bulldogs. 14 points, 13 rebounds. He's been big. It's his 5th straight game with a double-double, and now leads the nation with 7. He also had 5 steals and 3 assists. Not bad.
Second half, the Aggies trailed by 3 at the break. Sam Merrill, though, found his rhythm. He had 24 points in the game for the Aggies. Fresno hung around, though. Diogo Brito was 0 for 6 from 3, didn't care, kept shooting, and hits a big shot with 1:43 left to give the Aggies a 4-point lead. But as I said, Fresno hung around and down 3 with time running out. They need a 3 and they get a 3. New Williams off the glass, going old school. New fans at the Spectrum get 5 minutes of free basketball they didn't want.
In overtime, the game ended up where the Aggies were able to jump ahead for good. Sam Merrill draining a 3-ball to give USU a 66-63 lead. But it was Abel Porter that had the hot hand. He scored 7 of his 13 points in the extra session to help lead the Aggies.
The Aggies started Mountain West Conference play on Wednesday on the road at San Jose State. After a sluggish first half, the Aggies were able to pull away in the second half. Justin Bean led the way with 18 points and 14 rebounds. They won the game 71-59. Now, with so much attention on college football, there wasn't much hype surrounding the latest chapter in the BYU versus Utah basketball rivalry. That can happen in December. But it turned out to be better than the football rivalry game in September. This one got chippy. It was Yoli Childs' first game back, and boy, he looked like he didn't miss a step. He hit his first 5 shots of the game, including 3 3-pointers. He finished with 29 points in the game. BYU led by as many as 16 and took an 8-point lead into the locker room.
We had an opportunity to fold. God, they hit like their first, you tell me, 7 shots, and then when they missed one, finally they got the rebound. We were at one point down 11-1 on the glass. You got to live with something because they're a terrific team. They got a lot of shooters, and they're bringing one of the better bigs into the equation.
And the Utes came back and made adjustments in the second half. They chipped away at the BYU lead and did a great job getting the matchups they wanted, especially with Timmy Allen. Was batting there on the layup. Allen had 14 points in the second half against BYU. Then with 22 seconds left, Utes would tie the game with a 3-ball by Rylan Jones. He just missed a layup moments earlier, but he makes up for it there.
We had a tough time in transition in the second half. We had a tough time guarding the free throw line in the second half. Switching turned out to be really problematic for us. And I'm just super disappointed with the second half.
We kept going those runs, and we finally got over the hump. And it was probably the loudest gym I've ever been in, and it gave us energy and it gave us life and led to victory.
The Utes got the crowd into it, and the momentum carried into overtime. They took the lead in the opening seconds and never looked back. The win snaps a 2-game losing streak to BYU and is a big step in the right direction for this talented young squad.
The tone didn't change in my mind. The score changed some, to not have, they went small with their lineup, and we were able to get the ball in the paint, kind of took advantage of that. But Certainly, you know, it's demoralizing and different things on their behalf, but I mean, we just kind of stayed in the grind.
That was one of the funnest college games, just because of the crowd, man. It was great.
Talented and young is right, Jeremiah. The running Utes have been a bit of a surprise this season. Sophomore forward Timmy Allen, though, leading the way, nearly averaging 21 points per game this season. In Saturday's game against Central Arkansas, he poured in 24 points on 9 of 16 shooting from the field. He also pulled down 8 rebounds, had 5 assists in the Utes' latest win, a 98-67 drubbing.
Back to BYU. They were looking for a way to bounce back after Wednesday's disappointing loss. They set the tone early against UNLV. The Cougars shot 69% from 3 in the first half. They were on a mission. They held the Running Rebels to just 50 points in the game after giving up 53 in the second half alone against Utah. The added emphasis on defense ended up making a big difference.
Today we wanted to come in and we wanted to play with force. We wanted to, play on attack. Coming off the tough loss to Utah, we wanted to find ourselves again. And so early on, we established ourselves on the offensive end and then did a really good job of, controlling the game with our energy on the defensive end.
We made a big emphasis after the Utah game to get back in transition defense and build a wall and communicate. And I think we did a great job of that tonight.
Well, the Utah Valley Wolverines made the trip down I-15 to Cedar City, and look who's back.
Big Thunder.
Yes, he's here for another season of T-Bird hoops.
The Thunder rolls.
In the second half, Southern Utah trailed, but they made a comeback. Cameron Oliutin had 19. Then Mason Fawcett gets the lead down to 5. SUU would get the lead down to 1 with 12 seconds left. John Knight comes through. Kiss it home. Southern Utah knocks off Utah Valley by a point, 73-72. The second round of the NCAA tournament in women's volleyball featured a rivalry between the Utes and Cougs in Provo yesterday, but this was a one-sided match. Utah dominated, winning in straight sets. The Utes advanced to the Sweet 16 Friday night at 8 p.m. in Palo Alto. That's where they'll be facing number 3 Stanford.
Great clips of the week.
Friday night, Timberwolves led the Thunder with 1 second left. Somehow, the Thunder pulled this off to force overtime. They had 1 second.
Oh, man.
They would end up winning the game in OT by 12. They had no business winning that game.
Ridiculous. Well, where was LeBron on this one? It's like he's about to check the ball in at midcourt of a pickup game. This ain't pickup ball, LeBron, and I think the ref must have been daydreaming because he was looking right at him.
He's just making up his own rules at this point. Oh, my goodness. So many exciting young players in the NBA. Jackson Hayes is one of them, the New Orleans Pelicans rookie. And this from high school football in Kentucky, I think. It doesn't really matter. Let's just sit back and watch the brilliance of that play. This is pretty cool.
Couple steps off the defense.
The turn and the touchdown. Thanks for watching.